Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. Dogboat333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron for the New Order. As the Siberian... Shut my phone on my keyboard, goddammit. The Siberian Empire. So last time we were here together, well, we swapped over to a provisional government. Now, what is a provisional government, you're asking? Well, the horrors of war do not simply fade away when conflict passes. They remain as scars, continuing haunt nations as they descend to chaos and their regimes collapse. Emerging from these ruins is the provisional government. Serving to restore order and the rule of law after extended periods of turmoil, the relative serenity that arrives with these temporary governments is often cheered on by the people as a soothing comfort in comparison to the near anarchic conditions of the previous era brought on by never-ending war, or the volatility and violence that comes with revolutions. The discord of the past is often discarded off in favor of renewed national dialogue as the regime begins to define the legal structure of the subsequent permanent government. The regime partakes in a long struggle of rebuilding, reviving institutions eroded by the neglect and corruption, clarifying laws, assessing the damage sustained by the nation, and both literally and figuratively dealing with the messes and troubles that remain from the former regime. Administration, through programs of political and economic reconstruction, in hopes of restoring any sense of normality to a nation shaken to its core, and its accompanying citizenry. Well, there we go. Some good water. So leader-wise, we have Anatoly Sobchak, who I swear is in another thing here. I forget, though. Two words perfectly encapsulate who Anatoly Alexandrovich Sobchak is. Youthful and pragmatic. In his early 30s, by the time that he was appointed Prime Minister of the resurgent Russian Empire, Sobchak was formerly the young and quite successful mayor of Chita, before being spirited away to his now much more important post. And look how fucking good he is. Look at those bonuses, baby. Oh my god. Sobchak's political career had already bloomed during his time in Chita, where he earned a reputation for getting what he wanted. Though unlike many others in Russia, he did so through handshakes, smiles, cordial relations, and backdoor dealings. Finding himself on the side of Ivan Mikhailov's anti-army group, he was rewarded soon after with the post of Prime Minister. While none are quite sure what Sobchak truly stands for, they know that, whatever it may be, he'll find a way to get it. Well, there we go. Next up we have Nikolai Utomsky. Born in 1895 into a princely family of nobility near Simbirsk, Nikolai's father, Alexander Utomsky, was the leader of all the nobility in Simbirsk. Though Nikolai Alexandrovich entered Petrograd University, he did not graduate because of the outbreak of war with Germany, enrolling in Nikolaev Cavalry School instead. Graduating in 1917, he took part in the war as part of the 5th Ulan Regiment until 1918, when he joined the war effort of the Whites in the Russian Civil War. Serving initially as a personal adjutant to Colonel Stepanov, commander of the White Forces in Kazan, Utomsky would go on to participate in battles along the Urals until the end of 1919. By 1920, the fortunes of the war were decisively against the Whites, and Utomsky fled from Krasnoyarsk to Harbin, leaving in 1922 for Germany. 7 years later, in 1929, he returned to Harbin and began to engage in journalism, in which he heavily opposed the Bolsheviks and communists and called for the restoration of the White movement. These efforts, as well as his aristocratic background and monarchist views, brought him closer to Semyonov, and when Semyonov left Harbin to finally begin the restoration of the Tsar, Utomsky went with him to aid his efforts. Well, there we go. Next we have this guy, Alexei Abaza. An anomaly in the White government, whereas most of his colleagues are exiles, Abaza was born and raised in Harbin and has not either a political background nor a military one. In fact, he would rather be anywhere else. Born in 1916 to a Russian family working for the Chinese Eastern Railway, Abaza attended a prominent school in Harbin with a focus on musical pursuits and emerged from his education as a talented pianist. Over the next decades, his talents would see him perform in programs across Japan's sphere of influence and eventually moved to Tokyo to pursue his career in music even further. After the war ended, the late 1950s would see him return to Harbin after spending many years away during a tour across Japan's new conquests across East Asia. While performing at a dinner party for White Russian exiles, however, he gained the attention of the host Ataman Grigory Semyonov, who would forcibly rope him into a mad plot to invade the Russian Far East. As years passed, the officers of the White Army took a liking to him and began to entrust him with political offices regarding the cultural programs. Abaza cares little for the monarchist cause, but much like Vazari now serves, he has forced Shilvi's new strange circumstances as best he can. I don't think we got any events on this guy, which would be interesting to read about him. And finally, the man, the myth, the legend, Dmitry Volkogonov, who represents a radically new direction for the White Army. He's rather young compared to most of his colleagues and carries with him a wholly different perspective on both the White Army's strategies and how the Empire itself should be governed. After the failure of Shepanov's preemptive coup against the Tsar, Volkogonov was promoted to take the disgraced general's place as the head of the White Army. The new commander is already hard at work putting his ideas into practice. Volkogonov was once a low-ranking officer of the Red Army garrison in Chita, and had privately grown troubled with the excesses of Genrikh Yagoda's regime. When the city was eventually overwhelmed by Semyonov's invasion, the White Army found itself in dire need of new officers as their new occupiers looked to massively expand their forces. Volkogonov was among the few who answered the call, and his actions over the next years would lead to a meteoric rise through the ranks, as well as increased friction with his older colleagues. The young general, with his limited experiences with the Red Army, found the Whites' tactics to be antiquated and grew weary of their all-encompassing control over the state apparatus. In aligning himself with Zar Mikhail, Volkogonov took a massive gamble, and thankfully for him, it paid off generously. As the new commander of the White Army, Volkogonov is free to push forward with his ideas of modernizing and depoliticizing the military. Beyond the military alvaro, Volkogonov also advocates for extensive liberalizing reforms in the empire, including the implementation of a strong constitution. Well, there we go. That poverty reduction is coming along quite nicely. And gonna get some better admin efficiencies coming up. Wonderful. Quite soon even. Probably the same with literacy, not quite research facilities. We're all coming along. Industrial expertise as well. Nice. All right, let's introduce some new officers while we're here. Our rapid expansion westward has been both a blessing and a curse. On the one hand, we reach ever towards the reunification of Russia. On the other, the plethora of logistical and manpower-based issues seems to never end. One of the most glaring issues is the lack of commissioned officers in our service. There have been a couple of ideas on how to counter this crippling lack of skilled leadership. The first is to begin raising a new generation of officers to be trained and disciplined in our way, molded to our exact image. The second method, perhaps more practical, would be to simply repurpose and conscript officers of our now defeated rivals in the Far East and Central Siberia to assist in both leading troops and training officers. Likely, this group would result in a less ideologically pure group of officers, but it would certainly be a lot easier. Yeah. I don't know how picky we should really strive to be here, personally. But, yeah. We're getting these guys away from greens. Not that it's going to matter, because we can peacefully reunify, which I am going to do. That's some good water. I'm guessing this might end up being one of the last times we can release resources, depending on how this goes. Colonel Abdullah found himself nearly lost for words. Before him were dozens of young officers awaiting their graduation and beginning of their long careers in the service of the Empire. It was not too long ago the colonel was in their shoes, one of the few young officers who was able to make the cut under the strict criteria imposed by the old whites. Nowadays, the Empire was not so picky when it came to more youthful souls filling the ranks. Gave Abdullah some comfort knowing that more capable young men would have the same chance he once had. One more oath, and each and every one of his students would become an officer in their own right. Do you swear to serve the interests of the Russian Empire and her divinely ordained monarch, Emperor Mikhail II, above all else? Yes, I do! The response was resounding and vigorous. This is the first time Abdullah could feel that this pledge was genuine rather than a formal necessity. It had all been taught to look up to the Tsar as a physical embodiment of Russia's will, rather than a weak puppet for ambitious career officers to exploit for power. Abilov smiled. Very good. Remember, my sons, that you are now officers of the White Army. Russia expects great things of you. Do not let her down. You are dismissed. The ceremony was punctuated with a final chant from the new recruits. God save the Tsar. To serve Russia. I miss that song. Anyway, let's have a quick chat. Up until now, the Japanese have been both good and bad for us. They provided us with machinery, weapons, and logistical support, not to mention the model upon which we have based our new economy on. However, all of these things have come at a price. Economic concessions, namely, and the expectation that one day these so-called debts to Tokyo will be repaid in kind with diplomatic, economic, and political favors. Realistically, we have no interest in being even moderately in debt to the Spear. Thus, we should set expectations going forward with our former benefactor in terse, but honest conversation that they'll surely not be happy about. Oh boy. And they're getting resources from us. What else could they want? Speaking of resources, let's get those deals back up and running. Well, let's do some circuit computing. And what do we want next? Work on some combat support. We're almost in the positive for research speed, which is very nice. Oh. Voxburg was riding a report when an assistant barged in his face colors. The Japanese. They're calling. Voxburg quickly jumped from his seat and, telling him to lead the way, followed the assistant down a hallway to a cable room where a receiver was being handled by a young operator. Voxburg quickly grabbed at it and spoke. Hello, Boris Voxburg speaking as head of chief of the Japanese Relations, part of the Foreign Ministry of the Russian Empire. Who is this? Ah, yes. This is Ota Daisuke, a member of the Japanese Foreign Ministry. This is a call of utmost importance. Voxburg felt his skin crawl as he heard those words come through. Composing himself, he responded, Of what import, Mr. Daisuke? Well, Mr. Voxburg, many in Tokyo, myself included, are aware of the change in leadership in Siberia, and are wondering if your nation's prior agreements are going to be enforced. That's why they called. Always money and resources of Japanese. Just another market, another spear to make money. Of course. Well, I'm afraid to notify Tokyo that all former promises to the Japanese, including all debts, are hereby null and void, done without the consent of the Tsar of Russia. I see. There's a silence for a couple moments, which made Voxburg feel like his legs were wobbly. Well, Mr. Voxburg, that is truly a shame. Truly. It is something that many in Tokyo will find a tragedy, and consequences will be steep for your nation and for her people. And with that, the phone went dead. Bad promises are better broken than kept. Well, let's have a long call. With the Japanese dealt with, we can finally look across the Pacific where our true diplomatic future resides, the United States of America. The leader of the OFN and one of the most ardent opponents of both the exploitative and fascist Nazis and Japanese, they were consistently reaching out to nations across the globe to aid them in their international struggle against authoritarianism. While our movement has a history of authoritarianism itself, now that we've shed the problematic individuals that have garnered that reputation for administration, we can begin to work towards bridging the gap between ourselves and the Americans. It won't be easy, but It will be worth it. We are now maxed out on political power. What even can we use it for? Not much. Really. But we got better industrial expertise, and that is what we need right now. I'm grateful for that. Did the Viet Minh just get this province randomly? I think they did. Good on them. Well, let's hope there aren't any Sikhs that decide to rise up to complicate Miss Gandhi's rule. It always confused me that Indira Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, all the guys in the INC Gandhi dynasty are not related to Mahatma Gandhi. That always just confused me, I'll be real. I only have one final push. One final push. That's all we need. One final effort, a single exertion. We've come so far, and we've attained so much. From the barren hinterlands of Chita to the struggle of Shepanov and his cronies, we now stand at the precipice of glory, ready to achieve everything that we've struggled towards for so long. A pure, unadulterated, white movement, aimed at the systemic destruction of Bolshevism in Russia. But more than that, the genuine support of the monarchy, the Tsar himself, and by extension, God's will. DB Mikhail II and his advisors have demarcated a new official holiday throughout Russia to occur annually, Tsar's Day, to celebrate the life of the Tsar, to recognize the importance of those who have played a role in his ascension. Volkogonov, military leader of the caretaker government, has made a resounding speech intended to reach all Russian ears, praising everyone's work in the reclamation. It ended with 3 words that will become increasingly common in the coming years. Tsunami Bog. Beautiful. Woo! So it just seems to me that, and maybe someone can correct me if I'm wrong, trying to go ahead and stop the oh god, the Marxists have a lot of power. They might get, oh god, all the radicals do actually, holy shit. Well, they'll do the treaty ports, I imagine. I'm nervous to see what happens in 1972, I'll be real. We won't make it that long, but old Strom fucking Thurman. For this bread, we thank thee. Look at that. It's beautiful. It really is. Dear Father, it's probably been ages since you last heard from me personally. I apologize for not writing to you sooner, but know that it was not for lack of trying. You see, my life has been rather complicated as of late, and to lay out the story in its entirety would be a daunting task indeed. I write to you now, not only because of the time that has passed, but also because you've likely seen the news by now, confused beyond belief. If not, I will still try my best to explain the situation. I'm sure you are aware I decided to stay in Australia after my service with the Fleet Air Arm. My life in the so-called land down under was relatively carefree. I look back on those days with fondness. Sadly, it was not to last. Several years ago, I received an invitation by influential Russian emigres in Harbin to attend a banquet celebrating the legacy of our family. One thing led to another, and I found myself being crowned as Tsar of all Russia in the frozen wastes of Siberia. Despite their generous shows of goodwill, these old whites merely wanted to use me as a puppet to fulfill their dreams of domination over Russia and her people. I was kept as a prisoner in my own home. The days spent there hopelessly becoming the darkest in my entire life. Despite the hopelessness of my situation, I had come to the conclusion that my arrival in Russia was a sign. No matter the circumstances of my birth, Romanoff should never shy away in cowardice when his divinely ordained realm needs him most. With the help of some like-minded allies, I seized power from those corrupt white generals and became the Tsar I was always destined to be. I understand if this worries you, but know that while I did not choose this fate, my soul be damned if I don't make the best of it. Our family's honor will be restored. I will make sure of that. Signed, Mikhail Andreevich. Well, look at that. We got nothing else to do for now until this takes over. I'm not going to worry about the material procurement. And there goes Zanzibar. So Zanzibar is back again. Oh, hey, Julius. How you doing? Hey, Kwame. I know you guys are supposed to be big coming up. Interesting. Also, did France get... I don't know. They got these little bits back, I think. China modernizes. Look at that. Let's do some military austerity. Let's do tax hike too. And then... we can also sell some convoys in the meanwhile, which we shall do. And I'll do this just because we are working on some, whatchamacallit, submarines as well. Yeah, here we go. This might end up being the last video in the series, honestly. I'll see how we're coming along at the end of all this, but... I mean, yeah, honestly... might as well... oh, the National Party, look at that. Well, I don't really see them breaking away from the Ionots Pact, but it is interesting to see a democracy there. And then... I'm gonna sneeze. I did sneeze, excuse me. Let's do some anti-air. Let's add some civilian factories. Why not? And let us advance the developmental phase. Yeah, none of these really, are that great. I'll be real. But let's address the uranium problem. ironic. Bean, ham, spearhead. Well, that's not a name, I suppose, but... Well, let's expand some Siberian mines. And we'll have this little section open. Come the start of the new year. Look at that. We've improved our academic base. We got some smart-ass kids in Russia now. It's belly in the Middle East. And Yemen, of all places, too? What? That's crazy. Also, yeah, they got fucking steamrolled. That wasn't even close. What, fucking Italy has a little port over here. That's kind of cool. Didn't realize that. Guess we can do some radar stuff. And I don't know. Do you want to do streamlined or do you want to do flexible? Let's do streamlined. Why not? Oh. Is the Colombian Civil War still going on? Really? Oh, yeah. Looks like the OFN is actually winning. There, more or less. Let's sell some convoys. And then there goes Iraq. A little bit of a... Like there's the Republic of Iraq, not to be confused with the Iraqi Republic. Oh, that's it. Yep, there we go. Well, do you want to chase the sun right now? We might as well chase the sun. And I feel bad. There's not really much to talk about right now. I don't know. I'm going on vacation soon. I'm going to Ireland. That's going to be very exciting. Working on having a job set up for when I come back, because my job is closing for the season for a bit. And then I just get to wait until rain or snow comes to reopen. Which, in this modern era, you never know. Let's talk about what's next. I would like to play... Oh, those poor bastards, they're fucked. It is so Jover. Is that going to count as a total defeat for the OFN? I'm pretty sure it does. What's it really doing? They're not doing much. Germany has some control over here. Japan has a lot of the Pacific. But yeah, just kind of... Holy, production units. I don't know what prompted that at all, but I'll take it. Wow. Well, America's catching back up with the oil crisis, at least. Nay, Braga. Good on Mr. Nay. We're just fucking booming production unit-wise now, aren't we? Oh, well, I'm guessing that... Yep, that takes him out of the OFN. You know, it's a good thing I gave him Madagascar out of pity. Oh, let's begin reunification talks. Max. Oh, there we go. Pushing ever onwards. Let's stop exercising for now. All our guys are maxed out anyway. I'll hack up our taxes. We'll keep them off austerity just in case. Black power in Trinidad, huh? Yeah, sure. Oh, look, they took Grenada. Yeah, we'll sign that treaty. Well, maybe they can pull the U.S. can pull a Grenada of their own. If you don't know what that means, look up Wolf of Wall Street, Grenada. Huh. Well, it would appear that the OFN's kind of winning the oil crisis right now. Standing. Let's do declaration of friendship. Oh. We're friends. I think I said this already. Next up, at least in TNO, is going to be Yunnan. That'll be our subscriber special. For reaching 2K, thank you guys again. I'm also going to hop in and play some Victoria 3, because I've been having fun with that. And I want to play some more. That would be quite fun, I think. Let's loosen some border restrictions. And look at that, it's all coming together. I have no tension at all. This is going like fucking cake. Let's do access to foreign goods and improve our standing. Wow. They want to be friends, guys. Bunyachenko wants to be our friend. Whoa. I'm guessing we can do a preliminary conference next. Or maybe they're holding it for us. go. Alright, so it looks like conference is being held right now. Oh no, they killed Phil Leotardo. That's horrible. Just a kid. He spent 20 years in the fucking can. Not a peep. Some shithead Islamist had to blow his head off. Oh. Oh. Game. Woo. Oh. You have to keep it open or else the nuke goes away. That's lame. I wish I knew that. I wanted to see the nuke go off. Although James Ross Island exploding. That's kind of cool. Well. Now we just get to sit back and hold tight. Let's rally the Russians. Let's just use civilian factories from here on out. We don't really have to worry about much else. Speaking of nuclear weaponry, now let's begin the final unification talks. Imagine being beaten by the Argentines for the nuke. Come on, Italy, step up. Like you're throwing me off a little bit here. Liberia, if you guys don't know, has some iconically terrible regional flags. They're so bad, they almost kind of transcend into being great. They don't, but they become close to it. Let's promote dialogue between our men. Sure. Let's sell some convoys. Of course. And I don't know what else we want. You know who I'm rooting for? The Bellucci's. They never did anything wrong to anyone. 20 years in the can, not a peep. That's a strong silent type right there. They had the makings of a varsity athlete. Move on to infrastructure establishment. None of this does anything. Yeah, sure. We'll do a border treaty. Our diplomats leave the conference with their new compatriots and tone a treaty declaring the Russian Republic's integration into the Siberian Empire. These two nations are so intertwined with each other's economy, military, and politics, have formalized their unity by sharing a banner and name. Through work in adapting the Russian Republic's laws and administration remains, our union can no longer be interfered with or interrupted by other ill-intentioned nations. So ends in peace Russia's half-century of national humiliation, and so begins 100 years of rebirth. Beautiful. And now we have to declare war to on the fucking Urals. Yep. Go fucking figure. I knew it was gonna be a little too good to be true. Oh, and they just fucking back down immediately. There we go. And now. Shocking news comes out of Russia today, as an official announcement has been made by the Prime Minister of the so-called Empire of Russia. Anatoly Sobchak, head of the civilian government of the newly restored empire, has made a declaration confirming the reunification of all of Russia in the name of Zar Mikhail II, who appeared alongside him during the declaration. Scattered evidence and fragmentary reports have led to experts to piece together that Sobchak administration have their roots in the exiled white movement, originally based in Armenia. Mikhail II's legitimacy due to his parents' morganastic marriage notwithstanding, the Tsar has already made a number of public appearances even before Sobchak's announcement, promising a strong hand in dealing with Nazi Germany. Many celebrate the return of the Romanovs and the imperial system, while others scoff at Mikhail's parentage. However, only time will tell how this new Tsar and this new administration will fare. God save the Tsar. However doomed a man may be, he still has the freedom of thought that can carry him over the past and the future, the attribute that cannot be taken away by tyrant or circumstance. Dmitry Volkogonov. God save the Tsar. Do we get any events now? No, we don't. Man. 20 years in the fucking Siberian waste I spent on this, and I don't even get a goodbye event. Oh, now fucking Turkey has nukes, sure. Leave all the fun for the end. Well, speaking of end, I must leave my only friends. But, now let's see how we're doing economically. $40 billion. We got a deficit of about $1 billion. If we raise up our taxes, we get a bit of a surplus. Look at that. Yeah, decent stuff. I was expecting a little bit more content-wise, but I guess what are you gonna do? Like at least like an end description or end focus. That would have been nice, but I guess that's just kind of how the cookie has crumbled. Also, I don't know if we never got anything from this. It was just a fucking focus event for Russia or for the US. It was a little lame, but you know, it was fun enough. I enjoyed it, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Nope. Damn. Well, in the meanwhile, friends, I will leave it there. Thank you as always for watching, though. If you like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you have any comments, feedback, concerns, leave a comment section below. I read all comments I get, and I do appreciate any all feedback you might have for me. Hit the sub button, hit the notification bell. You all know the deal by now. I'm just going to leave things there. I'll see you in TNO next time. in China. HoI 4, any other HoI 4 mods, rather. We'll have to wait and see, but we'll see. And then probably playing some Victoria 3 soon, so keep your eyes open for that. But I'll leave things there for now. Thanks so much for watching, my friends. My name has been Mr. Dogbot333. It's been a pleasure, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye now.